Remember when he overwhelmed you?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنهم كانوا إذا قيل لهم لا إله إلا الله يستكبرون.
ونستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ثم إنهم إذا قيل لهم لا إله إلا الله يستكبرون. The Almighty Allah, while highlighting the crimes committed by the unbelievers for which they deserve to be thrown into the hellfire, He mentioned the most prime offense that they committed. That is, whenever they are invited to this word, that is Kalimat al-Tawheed, La ilaha illallah, whenever they are addressed by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever they hear this word La ilaha illallah, that is, there is no God worthy of being worshipped but Allah, they will turn their backs in arrogance and they will not respond to the invitation. وَيَقُولُونَ, they will say, أَيِنَّا لَتَارِكُوا
وَيَقُولُونَ لَتَارِكُوا آلِهَتِنَا لِشَاعِرٍ مَجْنُونَ. As
we have mentioned in our earlier session, that the virtues of Kalimat al-Tawheed is too much to be enumerated. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned in quite a number of his traditions the virtue of this word. One of such traditions is the one reported by Imam Tirmizi in his collection on the authority of Abu Darda. Abu Darda said, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Ala unabbiukum khairul lakum min an tunfiqu zahaba wal waraq wa khairul lakum min an talqaw aduwakum fatadribu a'naqahum wa yadribu a'naqakum." Qalu bala ya Rasulullah. Qala zikrullah. Won't I tell you of the most prestigious of your acts, of your righteous deeds, the better act than spending your hard-earned money, that is gold and silver, and worthier, meritorious deed than encountering your enemies on the battlefield and you strike them with your swords, or they will strike you with their swords. They said, "O Prophet of God, we want you to tell us this meritorious deed." He said, "It is zikrullah." As simple as it is worthier and more meritorious than any righteous deeds whatsoever. That is, it can stand independent of any righteous deed, while no any other righteous deed can stand independent of it. When you come to die as an unbeliever, if you were to pronounce this simple word, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, without accompanying it with any righteous deed, this word alone can guarantee you unconditional admission into paradise. While if you were to perform all the righteous deeds mentioned in Islam, without you pronouncing this word, such righteous deeds are null and void. So that is why it is called Kalimat al-Tawheed, Kalimat al-Taqwa. The Prophet was mentioned in the chapter Surat 14 that he used to oblige his companions to engage in the mention of Allah in zikrullah. He said, وَأَلْزَمَهُمْ كَلِمَةَ التَّقْوَى وَكَانُوا أَحَقَّ بِهَا وَآلَهَا. The Prophet ﷺ made it obligatory for them, for the companions, to be mentioning this kalimat al-taqwa, وَكَانُوا أَحَقَّ بِهَا وَآلَهَا. In fact, they are more entitled to this great word, and they are the people of La ilaha illallah they are more entitled to this great word than any other people, and they are the people of La ilaha illallah. And that is why, as I said earlier, the traditions reported from the Prophet ﷺ in connection with the virtue of La ilaha illallah are very much difficult to be enumerated. And he said, Man kana akhiru kalamihi la ilaha illallah dakhala al-jannah. Whoever has the opportunity of having this word to be his last utterance in this world, then he's guaranteed admission into paradise. That's La ilaha illallah. ثم إنهم إذا قيل لهم لا إله إلا الله يستكبرون. Whenever they are told to pronounce this word La ilaha illallah, they will turn their backs in arrogance. يستكبرون ويقولون, they will say instead, أئنا لتاركو آلهتنا, shall we give up our deities لشاعر مجنون, for a poet that is possessed. Not only did they call him a poet, they call him possessed. أعوذ بالله. يا أيها الذين نزل عليه الذكر إنك لمجنون. لما سمعوا الذكر ويقول إنه لمجنون.
بل جاء بالحق وصدق المرسلين.
The Almighty Allah said, no. The Prophet ﷺ is by no means a poet or possessed. In fact, being a poet was even was ruled out in the earlier chapter than this, where the Almighty Allah said, what? وَمَا أَلَّمْنَاهُ الشِّعْرَ وَمَا يَنبَغِي لَهُ. We have never taught him poems, and it is unfit, it is unbecoming of him to become a poet. In fact, that is why, as we have mentioned when we came to interpret that verse, that whenever he came to recite any poetic verse, he wouldn't recite it miraculously, he would never recite it correctly, and for him it's a miracle. In fact, scholars of Tafsir cited quite a number of poetic verses the Prophet ﷺ tried to recite, and he did not recite them correctly. Some of those poetic verses, in fact, he was even once corrected by Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Umar. He wanted to recite the poetic verse of Darfat ibn al-Abd, one of the famous poets of Jahiliyyah. He recited it, but he did not recite it as it was. Abu Bakr said, Nashhadu annaka Rasulullah. Nashhadu annaka Rasulullah. Certainly we bear witness to the fact that you are a true apostle of the Almighty Allah. But this is not how he composed his poem. They recited the correct, that is the correct version of that poetic verse. And the Prophet ﷺ said, well, why are you surprised that I couldn't recite it correctly? After all, the Almighty Allah said, وَمَا أَلَّمْنَاهُ الشِّعْرَ وَمَا يَنبَغِي لَهُ. The Almighty Allah already said that He did not teach me poem, and it is unbecoming of me to become a poet. It is not befitting. It doesn't befit me to become a poet. But sometimes he might repeat some poetic verses correctly. Take for example the famous poem of Abdullah ibn Rawah that the Prophet ﷺ recited on the occasion of the battle of Khandaq, as reported by Imam Muslim in Kitab al-Jihad wa Sayr. The Prophet ﷺ was imitating Ibn Rawah, saying, Allahumma lawla anta lama tadayna, wa la tasaddaqna wa la sallayna, innal ula qad baghaw alayna, in aradu fitnatan abayna. Oh our Lord, if not for you, we wouldn't have been guided. Nor would we have been engaged in prayers or paid out charity. In fact, the unbelievers of Mecca pressurized us and insisted that we must denounce our faith. And we stood our ground. We said, no, no, no. Abaina, abaina, abaina. We refused. We resisted their pressure that we will never denounce our faith. That was his say. Of course, the poem, as it's well known, belonged to Abdullah ibn Rawah, his companion. Yet he recited it. And Sugala said, there are some few expressions he made that resemble poems. Like in the Battle of Hudaybiyah, in their 8th of the Hijrah, when he came out from Mecca, he headed for Hudaybiyah. When he learned that they gathered there with the intention of attacking him, so he preempted them. That's what he used to do. He preempted them. He went there and the unbelievers started shooting arrows from all angles to the extent that the companions, 12,000 of them, all of them turned back and ran away with the exception of only 10, including Abu Bakr, Umar, Ali, Abbas and his son, Abu Sufyan ibn al-Haris, his son, of course the Prophet. The Prophet not only didn't he run, in fact he was even heading for the direction where the arrows are coming from. Abbas said, I was battling with his mount so as to drag him back, but the Prophet ﷺ was heading violently towards the direction where the arrows are coming from. He was saying, Anan Nabiyyu la kadhib anabnu Abdul Muttalib. Anan Nabiyyu la kadhib anabnu Abdul Muttalib. I am the Prophet, it's not a lie. And I am the son of Abdul Muttalib. He kept repeating it. So it might sound like a poetic verse. Anan Nabiyyu la kadhib anabnu Abdul Muttalib. It might sound like a poem, yet it is not. Because if you place it on strict poetic rules of Arabic language, that is arud, it will never fit into any of the poetic established rules. So you can see, that is why the Almighty Allah said, Bal ja'a bil haqqi. No, the Prophet ﷺ is by no means a poet. Rather, he came with the truth, that is the Holy Quran, وَصَدَّقَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ, and he confirmed the apostles sent before him. Those who were sent before him, he confirmed their messages as conveyed in the Holy Quran.
إنكم لذائق العذاب الأليم وما تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون.
إنكم, all you the unbelievers, certainly you are going to be made to test the painful punishment. You are going to test the painful punishment. If you persist in your unbelief and you die in the state of unbelief, nothing will avert the punishment from you. You are going to test the painful punishment. وَمَا تُجْزَوْنَ, you are not going to be recompensed إِلَّا مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ, but what you have been doing in the world. You must have this as the consequences. You are going to have this as the consequences of your deeds. Here you can see he ascribed the punishment, he ascribed their deeds to them. While in the later verses, we'll come across another verse that he will say, Wallahu khalaqakum wa ma ta'malun. It is Almighty Allah that created you and your deeds. As if you don't have anything, you have no independent will, no independent action. All the actions were planned, were will, planned, and executed by the Almighty Allah without any intervention by any other creature. And here, he ascribed the deeds to the unbelievers. And he told them that they will receive the consequences of their acts. Let them not have anyone to blame, let them blame themselves. This is what scholars call Bisa'ul Hikmah, meaning a platform where the Almighty Allah address creatures, address them behind the veil of Sharia. He ascribed any deed, whether righteous or heinous, to the person that undertake that particular deed. But when it comes to Bisaqul Mashi'a, that is the platform of the reality, where the Almighty Allah will claim every action, anything that happened in this world, that He is the one, subhanahu wa ta'ala, that wills it, plan it, and execute it, without the slightest intervention of any creature. And that is the reality. While in the case of Sharia, that is Bisaqul Hikmah, the Almighty Allah will ascribe deeds to those through whom such deeds occur, whether righteous deeds or heinous deeds. وَمَا تُجْزَوْنَ, you are not going to be recompensed إِلَّا مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ, except for what you have been doing.
إِلَّا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ الْمُخْلَصِينَ,
except of course the servants of the Almighty Allah, whose deeds are إِلَّا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ الْمُخْلَصِينَ, except for the chosen servants of the Almighty Allah, who have sincerity in their faith as well as their actions. Mukhlasina, Ibadallah al-Mukhlasina means those who were chosen by the Almighty Allah and were made impeccable. Mukhlasin might, in some occasions, might mean impeccable servants of Allah, meaning prophets, apostles, because the devil himself, when he promised to destroy the progeny of Adam, he made an exception. لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ, I swear by I swear by your majesty, لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ, I will destroy all the offsprings of Adam. إِلَّا إِبَادَكَ مِنْهُمُ الْمُخْلَصِينَ, except, he made an exception here, except your servants, those you chose, and made them impeccable. Because there is virtually no one that can escape the reach of devil except those that are made impeccable. In the case of the God-fearing servants, the devil might visit them with the intention of alluring them. The Almighty Allah says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَقَوْا إِذَا مَسَّهُمْ طَائِفٌ مِّنَ الشَّيْطَانِ تَذَكَّرُوا. Those who fear the Almighty Allah, whenever they are visited by the devil in an attempt to mislead them, then they will wake up. They will be alerted. تَذَكَّرُوا فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْصِرُونَ, and they will be vigilant. You can see, the devil might make an attempt to mislead them, yet as soon as he come in contact with them, massahum, as soon as he establish contact with those servants, then they will become vigilant and watchful. But not the prophets and apostles. No, in fact, the devil has no power to even touch them with the intention of misleading them. Illa ibadallah al-mukhlasin. But here, it doesn't refer to only prophets. It refers to all those that are going to be admitted into paradise, as the context of the verses, of the subsequent verses will reveal. It will mention all those that are going to be admitted into paradise, and how they are going to hold talk in paradise, how they are going to be chatting with regard to their respective experiences here in this world. So you can see not only prophets. And in fact, even in the course of their conversation, We will hear them chatting and telling each other how they escaped being misguided by their friends. So if it were prophets, of course no friend will make an attempt. Even the devil will never have the power to make an attempt of misleading them, let alone a human being. Illa ibadallah mukhlasin, except the servant of Allah, those that are chosen and are granted sincerity in actions and sincerity in faith. Mukhlasin.
أولئك لهم رزق معلوم فواكه وهم مكرمون.
Ulaika, those servants are going to have tremendous provision designated for them. Ma'alumun, fawaki. Part of this provision in paradise is fawaki, fruits that they are going to be provided. It is mentioned in the chapter Al-Baqarah, كُلَّمَا رِزُقُوا مِنَا مِنْ سَمَرَةٍ رِزْقًا قَالُوا هَذَا الَّذِي رُزِقْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِ. Whenever they are provided with any fruit in paradise, they will say, this looks exactly like the fruits we used to have in the world. Because of its shape, probably, it is outlook, and of course not the taste. Not the taste. Then the Almighty will respond saying, وَأُتُوا بِهِ مُتَشَابِهًا. It is only it shares only resemblance with the fruits of the world. Nothing more. But with regard to the taste or the quality, it is far, far different from that of the world. And they will be treated in honor and esteem.
في جنات النعيم على سرر متقابلين.
Where are they going to be honored? Where are they going to be treated with and served with fruits of different kinds? Where? في جنات النعيم, in the paradise of bliss. في جنات النعيم على سرر متقابلين, while reclining on their couches in the paradise, mutaqabilina, facing each other. In paradise, people will be seated on their couches, facing each other. They will not see. They can only face each other in the paradise while chatting. And scholars of Tafsir tried to explain how people will be chatting in paradise while facing each other, and each in his own abode, that in his own private abode. How? But now it's no longer a mystery. We can see how people chat through, people use modern gadgets to chat while seeing each other on the screen. And they're facing each other, they will talk to each other. In fact, now we have already started witnessing this reality. Why? One might ask, مَا قَارَبَ شَيْئًا يُؤْطَى حُكْمَهُ. Whatever comes closer to a particular thing, then it will start assuming the dimension of that particular thing it comes close to. Because today's world is getting nearer to the hereafter than the world of before. That is why you can see those realities that are contained in the Holy Quran are getting clearer. In those days they would try to say, how will somebody be in his own private abode and facing a friend in the same paradise while they don't share the same chamber or the same house or anything? But how would they be facing each other and talking while reclining on their couches? But now it's no more, I think, in fact, it's no more paradoxical. In those days, it sounded paradoxical for them to understand how somebody will be facing a friend in paradise and they will be talking. And later on, in fact, the verse will even mention how residents of paradise will see those in the hellfire and be talking to them face to face. They will talk to them, and those in hellfire will respond. Ala sururin mutaqabilina, they will be reclining on their couches facing each other.
يطاف عليهم بكأس من معين بيضاء لذة للشاربين.
Then يطاف عليهم بكأس من معين, a cup filled with wine will be taken around them. The reason why whenever paradise is mentioned, the only one, the wine will be mentioned, is Arabs were so much addicted to taking intoxicants, to taking alcoholics. So they can be consoled only when they are promised a better wine in paradise. That's why whenever paradise is in question in the Holy Quran, you see the mention of wine will come. In fact, even the quality of the wine, the Almighty Allah even go ahead and mention the qualities of the wine of paradise, how it is far better than the one they abandon here in this world. Yudafu alayhim, a cup of wine will be taken around them. Bikasim mimma'in, kas is a big cup filled with drink. If it is empty, it's not called kas. Kasim mimma'in. This wine flows from a particular spring. As it is mentioned in the chapter Surat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, masal jannati idal muttaquna fi anharin min ma'in ghairi asinin wa anharin min labanin yataghamu ma'in ghairi asinin, fi anharin min ma'in ghairi asinin wa anharin min labanin yataghamu wa anharin min kulli zatin shari wa anharin min asalin musaffa. A running stream of pure and unadulterated water. Ma'in ghairi asinin, ma'in ghairi asinin wa anharin min labanin yataghamu. Fresh milk. وَأَنَارٌ مِّنْ خَمْرٍ لَذَّةٍ لِلشَّارِبِينَ, and a stream of wine, a sweet wine, لِلشَّارِبِينَ, as if those who are addicted to taking wines are being consoled. That's why لِلشَّارِبِينَ is mentioned here. وَأَنَارٌ مِّنْ أَصَلٍ مُصَفًّى, and a stream of refined يُدَافَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِكَأْسٍ مِّن مَّاءٍ بَيْضَاءَ لَذَّةٍ Bayda'a, white and sweet for those who wish. The above mentioned qualities are the qualities of the substance of the wine, not what the wine does. Of what substance was the wine, and what are the qualities? That is the material qualities of the substance of the wine. And here, when somebody takes a wine, of course, he is bound to be intoxicated and might have some headache. In the case of the wine of paradise, la fiya ghawlun, it causes no headache. Walahum anna yunzafuna, nor would they be intoxicated when they take it.
وعندهم قاصرات الطرف عين كأنهن بيض مكنون.
Then they will be provided with spouses whose gaze will be limited only to their husbands. In is a plural name of aina. In the case of woman, mean large-eyed woman. Woman with large eyes. More especially when the white is extremely white and the dark is extremely dark. So she's called Aina. If it is a male with large eyes, he called A'ayan, Rajulun A'ayan. If it is a woman, she is called Aina. And the plural of both, that is the masculine and the feminine plural, is the same. That's in. Rijalun in, Nisa'un inun, Wahurun inun, Kasrat tarfi inun. And they keep their gaze only on their husbands. They will never be interested in any other person. That is the problem of a beautiful woman. Some people, in fact, have it as a tradition. In fact, they always mention that they will never marry a beautiful woman. Why? They said because of her beauty, she might be interested elsewhere, and she knows that if she loses you, she will lose nothing, because she might have a better person as a husband, because all eyes are on her. But in the case of paradise, the Almighty Allah said, وَإِنَّهُمْ قَاسِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ. They will be provided with spouses extremely beautiful with large eyes, yet they will keep their gaze only on their husbands. They will be interested in no any other person but their husband. كَأَنَّهُنَّ بَيْضٌ مَكْنُونَ. This woman will be like the ostrich eggs that are covered. That is not only common eggs, the eggs of ostrich that are covered. To show you how fresh and how, how their physical quality is. The Almighty Allah described them as Baydun Maknoon, the covered eggs of ostrich. Baydun Maknoon.
فأقبل بعضهم على بعض يتساءلون.
Because when you break an egg and you take off that layer on the egg, you see how fresh the egg is, right? So because it is covered not only by the layer, by the inner layer, there is outer layer as well. So to show you how fresh they are, كأنهن بيض مكنون وأقبل بعضهم على بعض يتساءلون. Then the people of paradise, they will turn around looking at each other. بعضهم على بعض يتساءلون, asking each other, that is while talking about their different experiences in paradise, their different experiences in the world. They would even have their memory intact with regard to how they live their worldly life. In fact, even if there was an attempt, as one of them will narrate his experience here, how somebody attempted to mislead him and how he narrowly escaped the attempt of that person. They will turn around to each other, talking and narrating their experiences in the world.
قال قائل منهم إني كان لي قرين.
One of them will talk while in the course of the conversation. One of the inmates of paradise will say, قال قائل منهم إني كان لي قرين. I used to have a companion in the world, a friend, a close associate.
يقول أئنك لمن المصدقين.
That friend always used to ask me, أئنك لمن المصدقين. Do you mean to say that you two are among those who believe in the reality of the resurrection? That when people die, they are going to be resurrected? Do you believe in that?
أَإِذَا مِتْنَا وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا وَعِظَامًا إِنَّا لَمَدِينُونَ.
Do you believe that when we are dead, mitna wa kunna turaban, and turn to dust, وَإِزَامًا, and to bones. Here, as we have mentioned in our earlier session, a dead man will turn to bones first, then from bones he will turn to rotten bones. Then from that stage he will be reduced to dust. Right? But the verse mentioned the dust first before the bones. Aiza mitna. Do you believe that when we are dead, وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا, we turn to dust? وَإِزَامًا, and bones. Of course, a dead man will turn to bones first, right? Then the bones will be rotten. Then the rotten bones will turn to what? To dust. أَيِنَّا لَمَدِينُونَ, are we going to be brought back to life for judgment and retribution? Do you believe in that?
قال هل أنتم مطلعون. Since
Almighty Allah is always there, as He is everywhere, subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will ask them, هل أنتم مطلعون? I can see you are chatting and narrating your experiences. Do you want to see your companion that you are telling your friend about? Do you want to see him now? Where is he? Halantu mutalina. Do you? That is all of you. Do you want to see him? Do you want to see that man?
فاطلع فرآه في سواء الجحيم.
Because the Almighty Allah has already known that even in our age that we are experiencing nowadays, you can see somebody on the screen from far away, probably from a far away another part of the world. You can see him on the screen. You talk to him live while he too can see you and talk to you. The Almighty Allah brought this in paradise for them to see. He asked them, do you want to see your colleague that you are complaining about, that you are narrating his story to your friend? فَقَلَعَ, the Almighty Allah showed that man for them in the screen. فَرَآهُ, he saw him فِي سَوَاءِ الْجَحِيمِ, in the midst of hellfire. How can somebody in paradise will see the inmate of hellfire in the midst of hellfire? Of course, it's said on the screen, right? Scholars of Tafsir of all age tried their best to establish a logical explanation to this verse. Some said in paradise there is a small window through which any resident of paradise can see someone in the hellfire. What do you need a window for? And they also mentioned that those in hellfire also have the same window through which through the window they can see the residents of paradise and talk to them. In those that there is no any concept. In fact, there is no any phenomenon that can bring together people from afar, can bring them together and see each other without them feeling each other, without them feeling the experience of each other. For instance, it is two extreme abodes, two different extreme abodes, paradise, hellfire. So how would you establish a contact between the two? To the extent that the inmate of paradise will talk to the inmate of hellfire. But now it is very simple. In fact, we don't need to crack our brains in establishing the logical explanation for this verse. We are already experiencing this reality. فَطَلَعَ فَرَآهُ, then he looked up. They interpreted this as he looked down for him to see the man in hellfire, because they believe that there must be a window through which he can look and see the inmates of hellfire. But now you can see the explanation clearly. It's on the screen. You can see him. فَطَلَعَ Then the man just appeared for him while in paradise, for him to see him in the midst, in the midst of hellfire. Allah, he will be talking to him live.
قال تالله إن كدت لتبدين.
Live, saying, Qala, he said, Tallahi, by Allah, in kitta laturdin, you almost destroyed me. In fact, you had almost destroyed me. In kitta, kada yakadu means almost. If somebody said, I almost died of hunger, it means he's still alive, right? Right? So they have this in Arabic when they say kada, yakadu, kittu, kitta. In kitta laturdi, you almost destroyed me, but you didn't. Like I kitta, tarkanu ilayhim. You almost inclined towards them. Tarkanu ilayhim shay'an qalilan.
ولولا نعمة ربي لكنت من المحضرين.
ولولا نعمة ربي لكنت من المحضرين. If not for the special grace of my Lord, I too would have been arraigned in the hellfire alongside you. I would have been, along with you, arraigned in the hellfire for punishment. But that is, had you succeeded in deceiving me, you would have destroyed me. You would have taken me where you are now. You can see how he will be addressing him live while watching him, while looking at each other. He look at the person and the person is looking at him and he is addressing him. If not for the special grace of my Lord, lakuntu, I would have been min al-mudarin, among those that will be arraigned for punishment in the hellfire.
أفما نحن بميتين إلا موتتنا الأولى وما نحن بمعذبين.
A man full of surprise turned to his colleague. Look at this enjoyment, this providence, these bounties of the Almighty. And does that mean that we are not going to die anymore? We are not going to die in paradise, we are going to remain here forever. Except the first death that we have experienced in the world, the death that brought us here, except the death that brought us here to paradise, then we will never die again. And moreover, we are not going to be punished anymore. We will remain here forever. He too was full of excitement that he will remain here along with his fellow inmates of paradise forever, without days and without them being punished anymore.
إن هذا لهو الفوز العظيم.
The Almighty Allah said, certainly this is the most tremendous achievement. لهو الفوز العظيم is the great and tremendous achievement that a servant can make. For you to come into this world and you get rewarded with paradise after your departure, you have made the most tremendous achievement. Not only paradise, of course, there is a promise by the Almighty Allah that the Almighty Allah will never be angry with you again. That is even much more, that is dearer to the believing servants than the paradise itself. وَرِضْوَانٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرٌ. Certainly the divine pleasure is more tremendous than the paradise. إِنَّ هَذَا لَهُوَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ.
Many of our viewers are sending their gratitude to Almighty Allah for this program. A lot of them, there are so many. And one of them said, please, he ran into the mosque to perform Salat al-Zuhur, and he missed one rakah. And he forgets to do salama. He did his salama with the imam. Then he now remembered that he has not completed the salat.
Well, if somebody come to meet a congregation of worshippers praying, and he missed one rak'ah, as expected of course, after the completion of the prayer, he will stand up and complete the one rak'ah he missed. Should he forget to complete it, and then this taslim along with imam, then he doesn't have to bother himself. What he would do is to stand up and complete that one rak'ah. Then after salama, he will do sujood ba'di. That is a prostration after the taslim, after his last taslim. That's what we call ba'di. A prostration before the taslim, we call it qabli. So that's what is required of him. In the school of Malik, if there is any addition in prayer, what will rectify it is sujoodul ba'di. That is a prostration after the completion of the rak'ahs, that after the completion of the prayer. And if there is any reduction, then sujoodul qabli is required, except of course if something fundamental is missing in the prayer, which cannot be rectified by sujoodul ba'di or qabli. In that case, of course, the complete rak'ah must be repeated, or it might even cost him the entire prayer, that he must repeat it in some other cases. But in this case, it's only ba'di that you will do after the completion of.
Wants to please elaborate to him the important or what the great gift that Allah has put in Salat al-Fatih.
Salat al-Fatih, of course, like any other prayer for the Prophet ﷺ, generally has its own portion of the bounties, because any act of devotion that you perform, you are going to be rewarded in accordance of that act of devotion and in accordance with your own status in the sight of the Almighty Allah. The lowest status for any Muslim is that for any act of devotion is going to be rewarded 10 times. Man ja'a bil hasanati falahu ashru amsalha. That is the lowest. In fact, no status is any lower. No status is lower than this. Higher than this is the status of those who are rewarded 700 times for any act of devotion. مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله كمثل حبة أنبتت سبع سنابل في كل سنبلة 100 حبة والله يضاعف لمن يشاء. And higher than this is the one reported by Abu Huraira. He said, the Prophet ﷺ, إن المؤمن لا يعمل بعمل يعطى ألف حسنة فلما قال ذلك تلا قوله تعالى إن الله لا يظلم مثقال ذرة وإن تك حسنة يضاعفها ويؤتي من لدنه أجرا عظيما. A believer might perform an act of devotion that he, as a result of which he will be rewarded 2 million times, said the Prophet. 2 million times. When the Prophet said this, he recited the statement of Allah. The Almighty Allah does not treat His servants unjustly. If there is any act, any righteous deed, the Almighty Allah will reward His servants with great reward from Him. Milladun ajran azima. Here, and in the case of Salat, prayers for the Prophet ﷺ, generally, any single prayer will attract 10 prayers from the Almighty Allah. No reward. Man salla alayhi salatu wa sallallahu alayhi biha ashara. He's going to be given 10 prayers he's going to receive 10 prayers from the Almighty Allah. A single prayer by the Almighty Allah, no amount of devotions can compare with a single prayer by the Almighty Allah. Because ma indakum yanfadu wa ma indallahi baqi. The acts of devotions of human beings, of course, are countable. They are limited. And they can be counted. While nothing comes from the Almighty Allah that can be counted, whatever it is. That is that. In the case of Saaffat, it has its own virtues. Of course, we don't have much time to explain. It requires a complete session of itself, of its own, for us to provide sufficient explanation. And that is that. It's about devotions, our prayers, our fasting, but what we love, may God count us among the recipient of His mercy, His forgiveness, and among those that are going to be spared from the hellfire by the virtue of the Lord, by the virtue of may God help Islam and Muslims, wherever Muslims are in the world. May the Almighty Allah help them. And May the Almighty Allah grant good health to Maulana Sheikh, may the Almighty Allah prolong his lifespan by the watch of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Remember when he overwhelmed you with drowsiness, giving security from him, and sent down upon you from the sky rain by which to purify you and remove from you the evil suggestions of Satan?